It's 7:10 in the morning, and sun's not up yet. I think the sun rises about 7:35, 7:40, something like that. Half an hour before sunrise. You can see the sky up there. So the stock's not doing a lot. It's probably 1 mile an hour wind, so almost nil wind, but not quite. So I've got a bit of a breeze to get launched. So plan today is to fly up towards Northampton. I want to fly over Pitsford water because my early days, one of my first flights was with Nigel, and he took me after I trained in Spain, and he took me, let me use this field near Moulton. So I'm going to fly up to there on the west side of Northampton. Get set up. It's pretty cold. It's probably about 2 degrees C, 1 mile an hour wind, so very cold. I've got lots of layers on. So the sun is almost rising. So you can get up before it rises. That'd be nice. Okay, we are ready. It's lovely to get up before the sun rises. Very cold, eyes are streaming a little bit, it's 2 degrees, and off for a long flight. This here is Cranfield Airport, which was originally a World War II aerodrome, RAF Cranfield, built in 1937. It's now used for business aviation, private GA and research and development activities. Now approaching Olney, Buckinghamshire, which dates from 932 AD. John Newton's from here, who wrote Amazing Grace, was a slave trader, but later became an abolitionist and influenced the abolition of slavery, which he saw before his death only a few months later. And this here is Emberton Country Park, which is right next to Olney and used to be a gravel works. It was converted in 1965 by Milton Keynes Council to a park. Very nice, being there with the family, a nice day out. Even though it is cold, it is such a lovely time of year to fly. If you wrap up well with the golden morning sunlight, yeah, it's really great. So Henry Compton began work on Castle Ashby House in 1574 in the distance there, and continued into the early 1600s. It's open to the public, I believe. And this here is Overston Hall, which was commissioned by Lady Overston in 1860. She died before it was finished, and apparently her husband hated all of the rooms. Then became a school, then heads of a Pentecostal church, but it's been derelict since a huge fire in April 2001. So this is a field here where I had my flight number 11 after a pretty horrific flight number 10. If you want to look at my history, you'll see why. And here I am over Pitsford Water. So this is a reservoir built in 1956 to supply Northampton. And at the kind of top of my trip. And this here, Sandy Lane. This is another field that I practiced in the early days of brown motoring. So I've also flown from this field here near Blisworth in the early days, probably flight number 12 or 13, something like that. We're now flying over Hanslope and Hanslope Church, I don't know if I pronounced that right. And nearby is Hanslope Park. In the Second World War was a radio security service, and the cryptologist Alan Turing worked there in the latter part of the war on secure speech scrambling.
So almost back at the field now. I'm just going to fly over Millbrook Proving Ground, which is one of the largest vehicle testing centres in Europe, opened in the 1960s. It's hidden from view actually and remains secret with access to the public not allowed. Has been used for filming of Casino Royale, Top Gear and the Grand Tour. So I always like to fly over the sock before I come in for a landing, just to make sure I get the wind direction absolutely right, and then do a turn and come in for a landing.
I really need the loo. So, 2.5 hour flight. Just put the motor in the van and we're going to go and get the wing. So yeah, great. Really good flight. 2.5 hours. Slightly ruined, I think, at the end. The last 45 minutes I really needed the loo. Didn't have any tea or coffee with me, so no drinks on flight, but it was a long flight. Got up to Northampton, up to Pitsford water, and saw the old training field that I had a few flights from in the early days. It was a bit bumpy to start with, funnily enough, early in the morning before the sun rose. Then it smoothed out around Northampton, and then it got a little bit bumpy on the way back as well, so it's kind of a bit turbulent around here for some reason. So yeah, great flight. Just going to pack up my wing and probably have another flight this afternoon.